Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all depending on where you are watching from today. Happy Hanukkah to those who are celebrating. My name is Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast. I am another guest to bring motivation, inspiration, and education to our show today. If you are watching, please like, share, and comment. Also, go to Master Motivation Podcast on YouTube and subscribe. So let me introduce our guest. He is Ken Dr. Smiley Rochon Jr., PhD. He's a Renaissance man, serial entrepreneur, veteran, humanitarian, and international keynote speaker who has published over 250 books spotlighting influential leaders worldwide. As host of the Dr. Smiley Show, Amplifying Hope, and founder of multiple media and publishing companies, he helps authors and speakers monetize their message while expanding their global impact. Recently honored with the Ambassador of Peace Award through the United Nations, Ken's mission is rooted in leadership, fatherhood, and building communities grounded in values. Above all, he lives to leave a legacy of love and hope for his son, proving that purpose, positivity, and impact can change the world. Great to have you, Dr. Smiley.
Great to be here, Jason. I feel like with your intro, am I worthy? I mean, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could take down anybody.
Well, you know what? For those of you that may follow me on social media, have been following the show a little bit, you know that I actually spoke on one of Dr. Smiley's shows recently, the Bold Baldathon. It was a great show. Again, you know, talking about motivation, inspiration, and education through people and their storytelling. It was a great opportunity. So I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on that show. There's so many great leaders on there.
And I believe it was Jose, right? Jose Escobar.
Jose Escobar. Several of our Connected Leaders Academy family were represented.
He seems to attract bald leaders at a high level.
Well, listen, you know, when you've been around as long as we have, and you've done some of the things that we've done, you know, and if you have kids, like, it just helps that move a little bit faster.
Friction free.
That's right. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show today. We'll get started with a couple questions here in a minute. If you are watching live, we'd love to hear from you as well. So please drop some comments, whether it's a question, a comment, a thought, something that really strikes you as we're talking here today. And just kind of give us an update, Ken, like what's going on in your life? What's new? What's exciting?
A lot. I'll show you a couple things. I was thinking about who is the guy in Taxi, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
And I feel like I'm the Andy Kaufman being on your show. Like I say.
So I get to be Jerry the King Lawler then.
You do. And by the way, well deserved. Well, I'll tell you, I have a directory. And what's cool is, I don't know if you ever had this happen. You've done a lot of shows. And by the way, I commend you on your prep, your questions, the lead time. I mean, I know this is pre-complimenting the show, but the way you prep someone for a show, I am excited about being on the show. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
A planner. This book here, right here, the Smile Channel, you are in it.
Nice.
And so
I made it.
Well, it's not about making it. You made it the second you were nominated. So let me explain that to the audience. To be on the show means you automatically go in the directory, but to be on the show, you have to be nominated as someone doing great things in the world. You have to be a positive force, inspiring and bringing hope to the world. And so, yes, you made it, but you made it because of who you are. And the more I learn about you, the more I'm saying, wow, it's really good to be here, even though I'm Andy Kaufman on your show.
If those of you that don't know who Andy Kaufman is, or Jerry the King Lawler, you got to go watch the movie Man on the Moon, because that's actually one of my favorite movies.
Well, I talked to Terrence Crawford and I asked for any pointers on how I could be better on this show, and he just didn't respond. So, so do you watch boxing? And I know you are a martial artist, but I mean, do you watch boxing at all?
You know, I don't watch boxing as much as I watch MMA and the UFC. You know, I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan from back in the day. Like, he was my favorite fighter. But I don't know. I just kind of got away from boxing as much as I did starting to watch MMA, just because that's my world that I live in. But I have a great appreciation. I love watching a good boxing match.
And they're all strategy. They're all like, how how do you follow the rule and understand how your opponent's not following the rule as well as you could? I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have studied boxing more from a standpoint of they're the most inspiring movies for me to watch to say, hey, even though it technically is violence, it's about overcoming something that's
Hmm.
you're actually believing yourself so much that you can take on anything, and it's pretty cool. I just the reason I bring this up is Black History Month is in a month from now, right? And there's so many inspiring boxers that have just done, like Jack Dempsey. I mean, I started really studying it because we want to actually honor 168. Remember the Baldathon? We honor,
Hmm.
well, we want to honor a lot of people that actually defied the odds. And I had dinner with Miss Muhammad Ali, Khalid Ali, just last week,
Wow.
by the way, for 2 hours. And it is when you're playing big, as you know, Jason, you get doors to open and you get access to people. You just kind of pinch yourself and you go, am I really here? Am I
Uh-huh.
really? And so I'm just excited to be on your show because it's a different show for me to be on, but it's the same theme. The theme is leadership. The theme is take on your demons. Uh, find out how powerful you are, and I love that about this show right now.
Thank you so much. And you got me thinking about the boxing movies as you were talking about boxing, and of course the great Muhammad Ali. But boxing movies like Rocky, Cinderella Man, Raging
Cinderella Man,
Bull.
my very favorite Cinderella Man. And by the way, do you know Rocky is the number one inspirational movie of all time, sports wise? Sports wise,
It's huge. I mean, I don't go a few days without being in the gym and playing Rocky music. I mean, I like to wake up
I met
to
the
Rocky
lady who
music.
wrote it. I met the lady who wrote the
Did
Rocky.
you?
Yeah, and I think it's Bill Conti did the theme part
Yes.
of it, but she wrote the lyrics. And there was one more part I was going to tell you. It was the number two movie of all time, sports related.
Number two,
Sports. Yep.
Miracle.
Rudy. And by
Rudy.
the way, Miracle's in the top 20.
Okay.
And by the way, you can Google this. You can say most inspirational sports movies of all time. Rocky's number one, Rudy's number two, and Hoosiers is number three.
Okay. Yeah.
Guess who wrote the screenplay for Rudy?
Who?
The people who wrote Hoosiers.
Wow. There you go.
And I had lunch with. This is a very short little story, but it's to the point of your show, I believe. Is I sat down with Rudy for lunch twice, not just once, but twice. And the first time he said, "You know why Rudy was the number two movie of all time?" And this is really pinnacle. I mean, this may be the best juice. Everyone will just shut off the show. They're like, it doesn't get any better than this. This is it, right? But he said the number one show in the world is is Rocky, because of the amount of struggle he had to have to win per minute. So if you have a movie that's 90 minutes, he had more struggle per minute than any other movie. And so it was number one. He said, I couldn't beat him. Mine was number two in struggle.
Wow. Another great movie, man. Rudy's well, don't tell my wife because that's not her favorite movie, but it's one of mine. I mean, great movies. Another one comes to mind, when it comes to wrestling, not pro wrestling, but actually, high school wrestling. Vision Quest was a great, not only, kind of a coming of age movie, but also, just that setting a goal and a goal that everybody thought, what are you, who, nobody wants to wrestle, shoot. And if I'm going to plug something, I had Shoot on the show, Frank Jasper, the one who played Shoot, and that was such a cool conversation to talk about that movie with him. But yeah, we could probably talk about movies like the entire time because I'm a huge movie buff. But I'm going to jump into a question because I got to ask. You're known as Dr. Smiley. What's the story behind the name? I mean, I see the smile, but how did it evolve into a global movement around hope?
So, if I may take a minute or two to say the pre who I was. So I was called the perfect networker because when I met people, I didn't just network and get to know them. I found someone I could connect them to, or some value, or just something I could do to make a difference. And so many people go to networking events, they collect cards, and they don't necessarily. And this is back in the day when cards were more prominent,
right?
But the point is, you're collecting cards and you're not going to do anything with them. And instead of that, I just said, what are you looking for? And I learned from a guy named Bob Berg, the Go-Giver. Don't tell anyone who you are, and don't tell anyone what you do because they don't care. I mean, he didn't say it that way. Believe me, he didn't say it that way. But I translate that way because if you look at 30 introductions you do at a networking event or 50, if you ask all of them at the end of the day, at the end of the event, hey, who'd you meet? They'd be like, I don't remember, but maybe one, maybe two. And you're probably not one of them unless you're dynamic. So my point is, don't try and be dynamic, try and be a giver. And so I was giving people value by connecting with people that would actually be either customers or referral partners or something. And all of a sudden they said, how can I help you? I became relevant in their world because I made something happen in the world. And so it moved to my mom passing of Alzheimer's and me picking up a camera and just taking pictures of people that were bringing smiles to the world, because that's what my mom was to me. And 7 years in the journey, I had someone hand me a smile card. His name was Barry Shore. And when he handed it to me, I just lit up like John Belushi and the Blues Brothers. We saw the light come through the church, and everyone called me Mr. Smiley. But in the pandemic, I got my doctorate, and I became Dr. Smiley as a result of it. I said, if there's any reason I want to do a doctorate, it's to study smiles and become the doctor of smiles. So that's the long answer to the short question.
Well, I love the answer, but what I love more was the lesson in networking. I can remember being a young kid myself, and I started my business in martial arts, opening martial arts school at 19 years old, and I really had no business owning a business yet. I just had a passion for martial arts and what it did for people. But I would get involved with the Chamber of Commerce at one point, and I thought, I'm gonna pack my pockets full of cards, and I'm gonna hand those cards out to everybody I know. And it's like, well, wait, that's not really working. Like people. I mean, now of course, it's a little different story having done this for several decades and being involved in our community. But now, like, kind of looking at our Chamber of Commerce now, something that we do that's so important at the at our networking breakfast that we have once a month, like most Chamber of Commerce does, and rather than just like passing around business cards, one of our main goals is, when you sit with someone today, we want you to connect them with someone else. We ask the question, who is the most important connection you can make right now, or who are you looking to connect with? And getting on our phone right there, and making the connection. So I just want to go back and say that it's so important to be a connector instead of someone that's passing the cards and trying to get yourself known, because like you said, I can talk about myself all day long, but when someone else talks about me or someone else introduces me, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different story.
Well, it's funny you use the word Ken Nectar, because that was actually my other nickname. And I'm going to tell you what a connector is. A connector is someone that has a different mastery level of understanding how relationships in the network would work together. And you're so good at it, you're like a matchmaker for business. And so, Jason, when you say to me, hey, I'm looking for some bald, or I'm looking for some leaders, or I'm looking for some authors, but they have this theme, my directory, my network is about 23,000. I can find 2 or 3 people like that, give them to you, and you'll be like, this is Christmas. It's because I'm a master connector. And remember the movie Unstoppable, by any chance?
Who was in it?
I won't go with who's in it. I'll go with why I'm bringing this up.
Okay.
He had one leg, and he wanted to be a wrestler.
Yes. Okay.
It's a new movie, and it's doing rather well. And I share this because if you want to be the networker, just take away all the garbage that's stopping you from being great, which is, you think you have 4 limbs, you think you have this mouth. Just how are you doing the unstoppable for someone else? Like, how are you being that person that they go, holy heck, out of everyone here, I don't even care if I talk to another. You were the one who was unstoppable for my win. And it's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, you're a martial artist, but be the martial artist in the room to defend the person you want to have a friendship with. And I just, and this came to me because of how inspired I am by you, by the way. I'm very inspired that you would allow someone like me who's not a fighter. I'm inspired by the fight of life and the fight to give hope and the fight to be the change you want to see in the world. Like, if there's problems in the world, what are you doing? I met Jeremy Locke, who is Ariel. He's got a company that goes in and stops sex trafficking. He's a guy who is a SEAL, and I just look at a guy like him and I go, that's the kind of guy I want on my show. And That's the kind of guy I can connect you to because I'm a connector.
Mm-hmm. You know, when I first started this show, it was my intention was I started it right in 2020 or during COVID times, and we were doing a lot of stuff online versus in person because we wanted to have that personal connection. We wanted to have that human connection, rather than sitting and scrolling Facebook all day long. And initially it was like, I'm going to bring on martial artists, let them tell their story, how they start. And one by one, someone would say, "Well, hey, I have someone else that has a really amazing story. Have you met this person?" And then they would connect me to that person. And it just kept happening. And so I went from having a show that I thought was going to be probably a little bit more about martial arts and sports to, you know, authors and speakers like yourselves who we never had a connection until Jose connected us and said, "Hey, this is a great opportunity." And it's just, I know from here, we're going to have lots of work that we can do together. And like you said, be the light you want to see in the world, right? I mean, that's what this show is just meant to, like, get everybody fired up and get lit up and excited about going into their day, their week, their month, the new year. And so I'm just super excited, and again, super grateful and thankful for all of the connections that this show has brought to me, because I thought it was going to be all the people that I knew. Little did I know it was going to be a way for me to meet so many amazing and unique people. So it's really awesome.
And that's because your show brings value. And technically your show, in my opinion, not that you're incorrect with your assessment, but it's about leadership.
Yeah.
It's about stuff.
You're right. And it helps all of us be, better stewards in our communities.
Right.
Which I think is great. All right. Hey, quick shout out, because he just popped on, and another great connector, another great person, Emilio Ramon. Thank you, sir. Blessings to you as well. Hope you and Daniela are doing great. I had the opportunity to be a co-author in one of his books, the Born to Risk series. So thank you again, Emilio, for that. And keep watching. Hopefully we'll see a couple more comments coming from your way. Let's talk about books a little bit. You've published hundreds of books and helped amplify countless voices. What separates a message that truly changes lives from one that just makes noise?
Well, let's start over with a secret first. Noise is a different one. Okay. So a secret is make a book. That's a secret. Have a marketing plan and have a campaign, and be as rigorous as you would be about being a champion in the ring, and you probably have a pretty good chance of having your book show up in the world. Noise is not as big an issue. I'm going to tell you why noise is not a big an issue. It's a secret. So 99% of authors are a secret, in that they write a book and no one knows it, and they never write another book. That's the true essence. It's interesting you bring up the word noise, though, because noise is actually that you have lots of distribution, but you have shitty content. Can I say the word S? Can I say it?
It's all good. Okay. It's an adult show.
Emilio, he's a super phenomenal publisher and a friend. And, I'll be vulnerable right now. I let him down on showing up for an event. It was because I had a team that was in transition. I didn't show up for it's not an event, but I didn't show up for a meeting that I had with him. And it's interesting, but I'm writing a book about something that's very near and dear to my heart. It's my 64th book, and it's called Grace, Grit, and Gratitude. And my intention is to have it out by February. I hope that I can complete it by that time. But the point about grace is people let you down, or they're late. And if you make it about the fact that they're disrespecting you, you're losing the fact that they were doing the best they can. And it may not be true, but if it is, you're the one losing, not them. Mm-hmm. Grace. Grit is persistence. It's just like, you're not going to stop. And then gratitude is about, are you in a bad mood or a good mood? Check yourself, because if you're in a bad mood, you're probably not very grateful for what you have in life. So that's my big book. And a shout out to Emilio, because we have been friends, and I am looking forward to a great 2026 with him.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one. It's going to be a great year. I love that you shared that. Love you get a little bit vulnerable, and I hope that we'll continue to see a little bit more of that side as we go through, because sometimes in these, I've done some really amazing interviews with people where I would hear the comment as soon as they made a statement, "I've never told anybody that before." And I was like, wow, that was pretty powerful. Because to me,
That's a big
to me, that's a huge compliment that you were vulnerable and transparent enough and authentic to just kind of come out with that. So I love hearing that. But you know, I'll get a little bit vulnerable here for a second. I never, first of all, I was never a reader. I absolutely, in high school and school, just in general, I did not enjoy reading whatsoever. But what I come to learn and realize is that I was reading the wrong books. I was reading the books I was told to read and not reading the books that I was searching for information or knowledge or opening myself up. Right. So I just did not enjoy reading. And now my wife gets on my case a little bit because there's books on our kitchen counter. There's books on my nightstand. There's books in a bookshelf in our room. There's books in a bookshelf I have in the garage. And she's like, you have all these books and you've read them all. And I'm like, I know, but I might want to read them again. I might want to go back to it. I might want to lend that book to somebody else because when someone says to me something, I go, I have a book that talks just about, and I'd love for you to read it. Furthermore, a lot of my friends started talking about writing a book. You need to write a book. You need to write a book. I was like, who am I to write a book? Like, why? You know? And so last year, while my wife was sick, I started journaling quite a bit and started realizing that, wow, this is a pretty amazing story. But then I also started taking some notes on just things in my life. And I was like, huh, maybe there are people that would like to learn from that. Because I've learned from a lot of people. Biographies are by far my favorite types of book to read. Love reading about, uh, especially sports entertainers, wrestlers, UFC fighters, because of that struggle.
Bring it. Who name two? Name two or three.
Kurt Angle was one of my favorite, just because of his story, because he wrestled in the Olympics with a broken freaking neck. Right, that's his story. Also, I loved reading about The Rock, and you can't see it, but
favorite. I was going
to boom, right there.
I was leading you for this, brother. I'm telling you, I was about to tell you my number 2 autobiography that I read when I was younger was Dwayne Johnson's book. And I think it was called Rochon or whatever it's called. I love that book. And I was going to say, you're wearing his shirt today. And his new movie it looks good, man. His new movie looks really good.
His stuff is, I mean, listen, if I had to have kind of a man crush, it would be The Rock. But it's because of his story. His production company is called $7, right? Yeah. And his book was The Rock Says. And just reading his story and knowing his story of coming from the pro wrestling world. His father was a pro wrestler and different family life. He moved all over the place. Just a great story. But back to the whole point of coming back to the books, people started saying, you should write a book. And I've been writing. I've been writing a lot. I have an editor that I'm working with. And so that is a potential 2026 project for me that's going to come to fruition. So I'm pretty excited about that. But man, to write, hundreds of books, you've published hundreds of books, but you've written 65. Where do you draw your inspiration for your books? Like the latest one, I love it. Grace, Grit, and Gratitude. What about some of the other books?
Well, the book coming out for Christmas, which is in days, is called The Gift of Wisdom. And it's just my download of epiphanies. And I don't know if sharing the screen is possible, but that doesn't matter. We can always put it as a comment or a link later. But anybody that hears me say a book, I will give the book. It will be a PDF. It'll be a digital, but you get anything I will say on this show every time for free, and I'm going to tell you why. It's the Baskin Robbins approach. If the ice cream's good, why wouldn't the pink spoon follow it? So it's that. And by the way, I was referring to Dwayne Johnson's new movie, Smashing Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I've seen it. Love it.
It's phenomenal.
Well, again, it crosses that thing where it's The Rock is the star and Mark Kerr is the subject. And, I remember Mark Kerr from the early UFC days. And it's unfortunately a very sad story in many ways, which if you follow professional wrestling at all, every pro wrestling biography, movie, biopic, the Iron Fist about the Von Erichs. Super sad.
Oh my God, that was so sad.
Tragic.
When I watched that, I didn't know I was in for that ride, and I left it, and I was like, I wish someone had paid me not to watch that. I was not, or I wish I could have paid not to watch it. Is a better
right.
God, right. That was the saddest movie ever.
It is. I mean, the wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah.
That story.
And
Not a true story, but it is. It's true
depiction
in
of
so many ways.
a depiction of a lot of true stories. And then what about the Olympic, the guy who shoots all the wrestlers? You know what I'm talking about? Dumont. Yes, it's Dupont. The Dupont family, and he wants to be a coach.
Is, Why am I'm blanking on this one?
I'm gonna get you. So it's Foxcatcher.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that one is really depressing from three different reasons. One is that the brother gets alienated by. I mean, it is a movie that has so many. It has Steve Carell, Channing Tatum, and Mark. Let me see, Mark Ruffalo. I mean, what a
Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
And by the way, the whole cast is phenomenal. But if you want to get depressed for Christmas, watch that movie. Definitely watch it.
Well, I'm surprised that, and maybe, gosh, maybe I've seen it, but I just forgot because I do watch quite a few movies, but that one doesn't stand out to me. So I'm gonna have to check it out. Let's talk about your Peace Award, right? The Ambassador of Peace Award is a powerful honor. What did that moment mean to you personally, not just professionally?
Oh, it's the biggest moment of my life. I mean, now listen to me. If you get an award and you don't know why you got it, then you probably don't deserve it. And if you get an award that's big, but you don't know that your identity is supposed to shift, then it probably won't cause it. When I stepped up in Qatar and I got this award from it was through the United Nations, and they were giving an Ambassador Peace Award to people, and I was being recognized for my Smile movement. And I actually cried before I went up there. And I'm a man to tell you, I cry in movies. I cry when I'm touched and I'm moved. And I went up to the person who got me this award, and I said to her, I said, I don't know if you know how much this means to me, but I'm going to tell you, this is the first time in my life I know that I have a responsibility in the world, not just in my country. And it was about the fact that I never considered myself someone like a Gandhi. And by the way, I'm not saying I am, just so we're clear. I'm saying that I am getting an inkling of what it is to be responsible, to have peace in the world, and that I would step into that and do it with pride. I do it with vigor. I do it with love.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal for me because before I looked at myself as only a leader. I was in the military, and a leader has different impact. But my point is, I didn't think it went beyond this country. And when I was there, I realized that that's my next move. My next move is to make more of a global difference.
Yeah, what a profound moment to recognize that, because many of us, we start, like, I'm the oldest of three, so naturally I was born a leader,
Right.
because I had two younger brothers that followed my example. Got into martial arts and become an instructor, so now I'm a leader of many within a small community. And then I'm involved in our community of Moore Park, California, and with our Chamber of Commerce and other areas and avenues that we give back. And then I start consulting other martial arts schools all over the world, and it's like, wow, it just kind of grows. And I remember a moment where I was like, when I started consulting schools all over the world, it was a huge shift because I knew that I got help with my martial arts school, but when I started helping other martial arts schools, I had to sit back and realize what an impact that was making for all of their students, and all of their students impact all of their communities all over. And it's like, that is super powerful. And it's with is it Spider-Man, with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility? What a responsibility that is. Does that ever weigh on you, especially with social media and putting yourself out there and talking about what it is you do? I mean, listen, to come on a podcast and talk about the things that we do, like, sometimes there's some maybe some judgment, some, that this is for attention and those types of things. How do you deal with kind of like all that pressure and that responsibility?
I am not trying to sound like things are perfect when I say this response. It does not faze me at all, but there's a caveat to it. You are either serving your ego or you're serving God. And it's that simple. If you're serving your ego, everything can hurt you, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to think about, how do I look and all this stuff. I am doing the best I can, and I evaluate people the same way. Jason, if you make a mistake, I know that you did the best you could. That's it. We're done with it. And we talk about it. We get past it. I just met Doug Fuschel. He's the grandmaster. He's a nine belt guy. I just met him in a mastermind in California, and just the fact that he would take me seriously enough to potentially allow me to publish his book and his memoirs. That's me saying you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world. It's just attracting really good people and showing the world that they are making a positive difference and their life matters. So I love your question. It's a very deep question, because technically that question is, do you have dark sides? Yeah, of course, everyone does. Do I feel like I'm failing at times? Yeah, I wish I was doing way more. So there's a lot of truth in the fact that I do feel that, but it doesn't stop me at all, not even close.
Yeah, I love how you present the grace in situations, because sometimes we got to step back and realize that people truly are doing the best they can, and everybody makes mistakes, and to be able to look past that and see the best part in them and see the light in them, and move forward. Big quote here. So if you're watching, write this one down. But you're either serving your ego or you're serving God. Probably, I mean, the most powerful statement that might be made until the next one that you make right here. But that hit me really strong right there. I like that.
Well, the other one I have that's in my new book about gifts of wisdom, and it's really, even though I've said it before, it's hitting me at the highest level right now. The bigger you play in life, the bigger you F up. I mean, you're taking so many chances. It's inevitable. Now, here's what the key is. When you do it, what'd you learn? Like someone that plays this low, they can play a perfect life, but they have little impact, little value. Doesn't matter. But someone that plays so big, I mean, look at, I don't care who you talk about. The biggest baseball players, the biggest basketball players, they fail miserably, and they get how big they fail, but they have to play that big. And so I am just really getting with the fact that I would rather have grace and humility and just tell people I'm going to be messing up a lot because I'm really playing so big right now.
Yeah. Well, I remember at one time, and I know this is probably an outdated fact, but Babe Ruth at one time was the all-time greatest home run hitter, but he also had the record for the most strikeouts.
That's right.
And so he would take the swings, and you're gonna miss a bunch of them. And baseball's another kind of, you could be 1 for 3, batting 300, 333, and you're amazing. But that means that, I mean, like 33% is like failing by most records or grades in school. Yet that's considered an amazing accomplishment. So yeah, I'm feeling all of that right now. Really good. When you talk about playing big, what do you say to people? What do you tell people when they are afraid of that failure? They're afraid to play big, or they're afraid of the work that it might take to do that, because a lot of people do play it safe. They play it safe because it's easier to stay at this level. You're not really noticed, but like you said, little bit of work, little bit of impact. But how do you really encourage people to play bigger?
I only do that when I'm a speaker, just so we're clear. So as a speaker on a stage, I say, this is not a practice run. We got one life to live. What are you doing with it? And how big are you playing? And how much do you want this to count? There's just not another chance. And when you lose someone that means everything to you, like your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or your son or your daughter, it's a wake-up call from God. It's like, life is precious. What are you doing with your life? That's showing me that it's precious. That's number one. Number two, you did not ask this question, but this is what I think entrepreneurs should look at. Are you attracting people that want to play big as a client for you? If you get a better client, you get a better referral source. If you get a better client, they will do what you want and need them to do for them to get the value you were giving them, whether it's a coach or karate school. It doesn't matter what it is. And so I'm attracting people like this gentleman, the Grandmaster Doug Fuchel, and Beth Robbins, who did this amazing book that's being turned into a little mini movie,
It's cool.
and Dr. Kevin McGuire, who did the Sleeper Code, that we're looking at potentially doing a movie with his book. And this is new for me, Jason. That's why I'm saying I am in new territory. And when you're in new territory, I got news for you. Unless you're willing to say, I'm going to make mistakes, you probably won't go there. So I would say, in going back to your question, on stage, are you ready to fail more so you can succeed more?
Yeah, that's a hard question for a lot of people to answer, because as soon as you put that word fail in there, immediately everybody's like, nope, nope, I'm not able to. And I think it goes back to your question too. Are you serving your ego, or are you serving God? Because if you're serving your ego, failure, you're going to fear that failure.
The only speaker that's nervous going on stage is the one wondering if they're going to look good.
That's right. 100%.
My son is a lot of examples of persistence and perseverance I'm trying to teach him. But when he got a yo-yo for the first time, I don't know, he's like 4 or 5 years old. He did it, and I'm doing it. It's coming right back up to me. He's like, why isn't it coming back up for me? And I go, it's a pop. It's a pop. And I'm showing the string and everything. And I'm not kidding you. He went in the garage, and it was pretty damn close to 18 or 19 hours. And when he got it, he was like this. He was like, and he did it every single time. And that is what it feels like to fail until you succeed sometimes. Sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah.
The average business goes out of business. Real quick, Jason.
Yeah.
Average goes out of business. It's somewhere around 85 to 95% of businesses go out of business in the first 3 years, depending on how you look at the numbers. One number is financially. The other one is that they're not making profit. Okay, those are the two numbers. And so if you're not making profit, you're just being stubborn, just to be clear. It's that you're wrong to be stubborn. It just means you're not admitting that you are failing still. And so some of those people go through and they actually make it. But the point is, that's a drudgery. That's a very painful gauntlet of 1 to 2 and potentially 3 years of saying, my dream is not working. My dream is not working. And here's the deal. It will work, but how long are you willing to go for it to work? And that is the point of success.
Absolutely. Well, you're telling the yo-yo story, and I think back to when I was a kid. Like, I thought it was the coolest thing that martial artists that could kip up off their back, right? You know what I'm talking about? Where you're on your back, kip up. Yeah. And I must have tried that 5,000 times, because I did it so many times that I was bleeding on the back of my neck from rubbing on the carpet so many times. And I remember the first time that I got it, it made the thousands of times that I tried to do it and failed and fell, and the blood on the back of my neck and all scraped up. The one time that I got it, I was like, yes. And then you know what happened the very next time I tried it?
You did it.
I fell down again.
Oh, did you?
I fell down again. And then I had to get it. But it was like that one time that gave me the little ounce of hope that, like, okay, just keep pushing through. And so a lot of people, it's like the little meme or cartoon character of the guy with the axe chipping through the ground, and he gives up when he's just like that far from reaching the destination. So yeah, it's all about that, failing forward.
Well, you may cut me off your show after I tell you this. I scraped my hand or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I think I had like a little boob, and I scratched it, and I put blood on my back of my neck, and I said, I tried 5,000 times to do that thing that you get up.
Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Let's talk about your mom for a minute. Okay. So hopefully maybe we'll get a little bit deeper understanding, kind of like where you're coming from. When you talk about loss, so after losing your mom to Alzheimer's, how did that experience reshape and define success and legacy? You touched on it a little bit, but let's dig a little bit deeper on that.
Well, I'd like to go before she passed, if that's okay. So
sure.
There are athletes that will do anything for their mom because their mom believed that they should get their dream. And I'll just say my mom was that cheerleader, and being that cheerleader, it's priceless. And here's what's sad. I don't know anything about my mom. I swear to you, it's the weirdest thing. She never talked about who she was. She never talked about her dreams. She never talked about her sadness. She never talked about her journey. And so when she passed, I felt horrible. I felt horrible that I didn't know the person that believed in me so much. So she was an amazing mom. And so what I decided to do was be a tribute to her. Because if she was a tribute to me, I would be a tribute to her. So everything I do is about optimism because that's who she was to me. And so the smile movement, when I got it, and the reason that light was coming from the church for me was I felt like my mom was saying, you have the card now that is who I really am. Show the world what it is to smile. And I know this is really corny, but I mean that is the deal. She was what a great kid can always boast about is a mom that believed in them and would do anything for them. And it's a weird connection that a mom and a son have. It's very weird. It's that there's just the protection is heroic.
Yeah.
And so she was a positive force. And so what happened after she passed was I got lifted up from being this professional DJ who was a bachelor who was doing really rather well in life monetarily to I have nothing I'm doing in the world that speaks to me being purpose driven, having impact, changing the world. So everything has to go because I'm now going to become this new person. That's how much impact she had.
So that's a very I want to hit that really quick. You were very successful monetarily, right? Financially doing really well. But you didn't feel like
3 months off a year traveling the world. I mean, just like that good.
right? But it wasn't as fulfilling as living your purpose. And I can remember, a time in my life where I thought, okay, number one, I wanted to teach martial arts because I loved martial arts. I loved what it did for me. I loved what I saw it did for other people. And so like it was a natural fit. I was drawn to it from all the people I surrounded myself with. I opened a martial arts school, and then I got so focused on my level of success depended on the number of my bank account, or how good the school was. And I remember one time that I had just gotten to a point where I had kind of done all the things. I had the car, the house, and then I started doing things that were more purpose driven, that made me really feel so good inside, even though, like, quite honestly, it didn't make me any money, or not a lot of money, but I was so purpose, and I was like, wait a second, this feels so much better than having a lot of money or a car or whatever. You know what I mean? So
Right.
can you put that into words, what that meant to you, what that felt like to you, and how because now I'm sure that there's kind of a little bit more of an evolution where those two have really come together. So talk about that for a minute.
Well, when I was a DJ and I had people that were just going crazy on the floor, and I felt like I was doing my job, I felt happy. I mean, I did. It was happiness. But what I felt when this happened was I felt alive. And when I talk to people and I say, how are you doing? They go, I'm above the ground. I get that there's a context that they have seen what it's like to lose somebody, or that they know that this is gratitude that they're above the ground, they're alive. I'm giving them maybe more praise than the comment deserves, but I'm hearing it differently than I would have heard it when I was a DJ. Above ground would have sounded like, oh, that's it, you're just breathing. But what I hear now is someone that appreciates they're alive
Mm-hmm.
and that they're living their life.
Right. Yeah, it's just such a pivotal moment, and I think that it's something that can only be learned by an experience like that, an experience of major loss, whether it be someone in your life, or all the things that you thought were your level of success, and you lose all of those things, and you go, huh, but I can still feel powerful and feel alive, as you said, doing something that with purpose. So yeah, thanks for talking about that a little bit. You talk about your son a lot. Fatherhood clearly fuels everything you do. What's the most important lesson you hope your son learns by watching how you live?
Number one would be that if I can change the world, if I can do it, me, Dr. Smiley, I'm teaching him that he can too. That's the number one, because I can't tell him he can change the world unless I can show him that I'm willing to take the risk. Okay, that's number one. Number two is I just want him to be aware that if you live a life of integrity and you combine it with leadership, good things will happen. Really good things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen things not happen good, because you're either with the wrong people and you get geared to the right people, or you're with the right people and you prosper with them. And I have a quote that I've been published for about the perfect partnership. And I teach them this on a regular basis, which is the perfect partnership is when two or more people agree verbally or in writing to compete to unconditionally give more than the other. I've also taught him a lot of things about the true gentleman, which is a great quote I'm going to go into, or the bottom line, which is that you get to carve your own life. There's no excuses you have to make. You can make anything happen in your life. And he has memorized these things. And I I have them do this because there may be a day I'm not here, and I want the programming to be instilled in him that he is the commander of his life. He can do anything he wants with it, and it better be for good, or it's not going to be worth anything.
How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 12. He's written his 14th book about a year or two ago, and he's got his 15th book apparently coming out in March. He's not as excited about doing books as he was, but I will tell you this. I was very careful about making sure when he did books, he did it for him, not me. I was very careful about that because I did not ever want him to turn back in life and say, "Yeah, I did this for my dad," or "I did it because I had to please him," or something like that. So after his second book, I told him, "Kenny, I just want to let you know I'm happy you're doing this book. Don't do it for me, do it for you." And then I shifted it from I said, "You have to sell me on the fact that I published your book." And that was a kind of a cool moment for me because he actually fought for it then. But now he's not doing it as much. Okay, but he's writing his 15th book called How to Write a Book.
How cool. Well, so 12 years old. My son is 20, and I can remember, well, not just remember, but I have often thought kind of his entire life. I try to look at it through his eyes. You know, he started martial arts when he was 2.5.
Wow.
He's played, and he's now a fourth degree black belt in Tong Soo Do. He earned his black belt in Krav Maga. He has a blue belt in Jiu Jitsu. And so my point in saying all of that is a little bit to brag on him, but also that he's done all of these things in 20 years that like I haven't even done. I hadn't done any of those things like in my 40th year, I don't think.
Me either.
And so I often think, like you were talking about, I don't want him to do it because he feels like he has to do it for me. I want him to do it for himself. But I also, ever since he was born, wanted him to live his own life, achieve his own goals, carve his own path, all the things that you're saying. And we're not talking to them right now, but I'm wondering if you have thought about, or if you kind of understand a little bit from his perspective of what does it feel like to have you as his dad? Because I wonder what it's like for my son to have me as his dad, who people look to for leadership and advice and inspiration and all of these things. Do they struggle with it? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they do. They struggle with it from a lot of standpoints. Kenny struggles with the fact that he doesn't want to be called an author right now because in middle school, if he's an author, he's a bully target, and he doesn't want me to tell him he doesn't want anyone to know he's an author. So there's that side of it, and then I think there's the perfection side of it on some level, and there's the embarrassment side of he needs to find his own way at times, and he needs to be cool. And being cool, unfortunately, is not being courageous. Ironically, being courageous is cool. Like if you are a dipshit and you are courageous and you go, "That's my dad over there," and it's the uncoolest move you could possibly do, you would be accepted. The biggest moment, and I know you didn't ask this question, but the biggest moment in my life was my dad made me promise I'd never take drugs. I was 13 years old. Almost every one of my friends were doing drugs. I'm not talking about hard drugs; just they were doing drugs. They could have been doing pot or whatever. And I wanted to try it. I did. I mean, I'm a kid. I want to see what everyone else is doing. And he says, "Are you doing drugs?" And I said, "I'm not." And he says, "Okay, well, you know, you act like you could be, and I just want to make sure." And I was just acting goofy. And he says, "I just want you to promise me you're never going to try drugs." And I said, "I don't know if I want to promise that, Dad." And he says, "While you're under my roof, I'm an Army officer. You can't do drugs while you're under my roof. It affects my name, my career." I said, "Okay." He says, "Okay, what?" And he says, "Okay, I won't." And he goes, "No, say the whole thing." I said, "Okay, I won't do drugs while I'm under your roof until I'm 22, and then I get my own choice." And he says, "Okay, you just made a promise. You don't keep that promise, I'll never trust you." I never took drugs my whole life. But here's what happened, Jason. This is the point of the story. My friends would tell me that we go to the campfire or whatever. They're all doing pot or whatever, and they're passing the joint. And they said, here to me. And I said, I can't do it. And they go, why? And I said, I promised my dad I wouldn't do it. It was so courageous and conviction. They said, oh, okay, no problem. And they passed to the next person. It was that quick.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I blew me away
Powerful.
because I
Yeah.
was scared of not fitting in. Yet I
Right.
just what the conviction was.
Well, so now you talk about your dad a little bit, and you mention that your dad tells you, "Hey, can't have you doing drugs because it not only affects you, but
Hmm.
it's going to affect me." So how was that growing up? Like knowing, who your dad is and what he stands for, and was that a challenge for you? I mean, I'm sure the drugs probably not, but like living up to those expectations. You talked about perfection. What was that like?
Well, it was. I'll just tell you this particular question is probably not as appropriately stanced as you're positioned it to be. So I was an undiagnosed, probably ADHD kid, most likely. My brother and sister were very docile. They were younger. They never got in trouble. I got in trouble all the time. He was very, very strict. And my point in saying this to you is I was a troublemaker, and I was I was not easy probably to be with. So I got my share of lickings, etc. And so it wasn't about pressure. It was just not about not fitting in and not knowing how to really get along. And my dad was a strict army officer, and here I was this rebel. And so it was tough. It was tough. But it wasn't because of him. It was because of me.
But that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon to have, a strict father, military, and then you got the kid that wants to rebel. I mean, like, I think that's kind of natural as kids.
Yeah.
We're pushing the envelope to find out like how far can we go with this, and sometimes it just kind of. But look at you now, right? The person that pushed the envelope, rebel, if you will, it's helped you in life kind of position you to where you are now. You don't accept the status quo. I mean, because you could very easily live a mediocre, easy, safe life. But, when you push that envelope, you ask those questions, you look for the deeper meaning, it kind of pulls you in a totally different direction.
Home run, buddy. Home run. I mean, the bigger you play, the more you learn how hard it is to play big, and the more you have grace for people that do. That's probably the biggest message in the show for you and for me and for me.
And for those of you watching, I know we got a bunch of people watching live now. Take some notes, like, share, comment on this video, share this video with other people to watch, because we want to make sure that everybody's hearing the message. But I appreciate, so every time I make a comment like that, I'm like, that's cool. Everybody's learning something. But like, really, I love the fact that I get to sit here and just talk with you, and we have these moments where those messages just kind of run deep, and some things that really stick. So I appreciate it. Thank you. For authors and speakers trying to make an impact, what's the biggest mistake you see them making when it comes to media and influence?
I think there's probably three huge ones. Number one is they think that if they put it on Amazon, that Amazon's going to take care of it. Number two is they think that making a baby is raising a baby. Making a book is just making a book. You just made a baby. Who cares? I mean, you made a baby. It's a miracle. But who cares unless you do something with that baby? And number three is know your math. You do something in life that's called content. You need to do 100 times more of that called distribution. And it's weird math. It's very weird math. But if you do a book and you put 99% of your resources into the book and 1% into the marketing or the impact piece, you have a flop within like that. It's an instant flop. So it's scary to say this, but it works like God has you have a baby. That's 1% of it. You have to put 100% more into raising the baby. And that is actually the equation that works best for us to get a book to actually have impact. And my advice to an author is write a book. Great. You did a bucket list. But to have it impact the world, you got 100 times more work to do.
Yeah, for sure. And what are some things that people don't think about when it comes to that? I mean, what are some of your tips on making sure that your book, your baby, has an impact? Quick tips on that.
Quick tips. How many minutes do I have on that particular one?
Let's go 2-3 minutes.
Okay, good. So number one, carry your book everywhere. Give your book to somebody every day that moves you, that you want to have them become a friend of yours. When you hand a book to someone, don't give it away for free. Say, will you read it? If they say they'll read it, let it go, and then say, can I kind of review from you? Stay in the conversation with them for 2 or 3 weeks. Reviews are your gold mine of SEO, increasing the chance of your book being found on Amazon. And the most important thing is treat your book like it's your future son or daughter, because it's going to feed you later if you feed it.
Good advice. Good advice. Yeah. So sometimes people write a book and they do their big blast. They sell their however many books, and then right,
Yeah,
you know,
the whole $300, and they're like, "Damn, that was good for that $19,000 investment."
right. Well,
Right.
and again, I'm going to quote it again. You can serve your ego, or you can serve God. And if you're sharing your message, and your message is to inspire or motivate or educate people through your story in your book or your content of what you're doing, what a great way to serve God.
So since I went less than 3 minutes, I do have 1 more minute to add to that because I can't believe I left this out. But can I do it?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Read Malcolm Gladwell, Tipping Point and Outliers. And when you do your book, get behind the fact that if you spent 10,000 hours behind your book, getting it out there, that it would be a pleasure, not a pain. That would be my biggest. Those two things are huge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you told me how many times you did that to get up and then how many hours. I know it's well over 10,000 hours. I'm not talking about that specific move, but that added into the 10,000 hours of how committed
Right.
you are to martial arts.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. All right. Well, let's get down to this final question, because we are getting kind of close on time. And I mean, we burned through this hour really fast today. So if someone today is listening, or they listen to this somewhere down the line, right? And they're feeling stuck or disconnected from their purpose, what's the first small step you'd challenge them to take?
Ask the question, why are you alive? Ask the question, what means the most to you that you could make a difference in? And when you can actually experiment with that, I think you'll find your way.
That's awesome. That's
I mean,
great.
the guy, Jeremy Locke, who looked at sex trafficking, it just bothered him. He just got a bunch of SEALs together. He says, we're going to rescue these people. And it's not always about solving problems, but solving problems will make you feel better.
I mean, I'm thinking about my martial arts journey. I never started my martial arts journey for money, even though that was going to be my livelihood and the business that I started at 19 years old. Never had another career, never done really anything else outside of the martial arts industry. And the reason that I started was because I saw how it changed my life and how it could change others' lives. I never really understood the greater purpose that comes along with it, that only took experience, time, and maturity to watch how what we do as leaders in our community, and leaders in the martial arts school, sending out more people with this message of discipline and respect and humility and gratitude and all the things. Everybody thinks about martial arts as like the kicking and the punching. And
Mhm.
like it's a part of it, right? Like it's a part of it. It's a big part of it. But there's so much more that goes along with it, because after students earn their black belt with us, or even go beyond the black belt, it's what they do with their life after that
Mhm.
that makes me go, wow. An example is I see several students on a regular basis that don't train with me anymore, but train with me when they were young. And one specifically will remind me every single time. And I see him in the gym almost, several times a week. And he will every single time tell me, you have no idea how much martial arts changed my life, how much it's impacted everything that I do. And you think about that for a second, I'm going, I had the student for maybe 3 or 5 years, and he's now probably 30 years old. And he's telling me that what I shared with him and what I taught him affects every decision he makes and every day of his life. And I know this because he tells me this. Holy cow. I mean, and I've taught thousands of students over the years. The kicking and the punching was kind of cool. But hearing that,
Mhm.
man, that just drives me, like, every time I hear that, that just drives me. I love what I do. I truly, absolutely love what I do because of that type of impact. And if that person shares it with just one more person, the ripple effect is so strong. So, whether it's your martial arts, it's your book, your speaking, that impact that you're making for people that are wondering if you're stuck, like if you think you're not making an impact, just step back and imagine what it's done for you, what it's done for others, and how many people do they come in contact with on a daily basis, and multiply that times 365, and then times how many years, you know what I mean? It's like, wow.
That is actually the point, is people don't necessarily look at the power of the cumulative effect. And if you have 10 followers on Instagram and tomorrow you get 10, you do that for a year, you have 3,650. The other one is you asked me a question about finding the purpose, basically. And I want to say, I haven't really had that question asked to me. And so I answered it from the heart, but I will say that it wasn't that publishing was something I was getting into. It was that publishing was getting to me. And I would say this from a standpoint is I saw publishing as one book, you're done and you're out, and almost everyone fails. And I said, this can change. It can change with a marketing system. It can change with a strategic campaign. And same with you. You didn't get into martial arts. Martial arts got into you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't get into your purpose. Your purpose gets into you. You don't get into your why. Your why gets into you. And my point is, that question you asked, when that happens, you have it.
Yeah. And I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis, as you do, and I always wonder to myself, do they know the power they have? I see someone starts a new business and then they get frustrated because of the simple things, or the roadblocks that come. But if you could just let that why get into you, like you blast through those things. I mean, what's the saying? Once you realize your why, the how is not as important.
Yeah,
So yeah, but I mean, but you come across people every day that you wonder, do they know how much potential, how much power they have inside of them to share with others? And
by
sometimes
the
they
way,
just don't.
you don't either, neither do I. And we are getting tested, but I keep finding I have more in the tank. And so
Yeah.
and it is crazy, but God gives us an unbelievable amount of ability that we just don't even know we can tap into.
Right. And that's why they say that the best is yet to come.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
God
Hey,
bless you, brother.
yeah, man. Thank you. That's such an awesome conversation today, right? And I think a lot of people thought we were going to talk all about books and publishing the entire time, and I think we hit a whole lot deeper than that. So appreciate you.
We hit books and boxing like no one has ever done.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do it again sometime. But for today, I think we'll call it a day, and just say thank you to everybody watching. Thank you, Ken, for being on the show. Appreciate you sharing everything with us, and would love to just continue the conversation in whatever way we can as we move forward. And those of you that are watching live, one more time, like, share, and comment on this video. Hit the YouTube channel, Master Motivation Podcast. Go back and check some of the other amazing guests that I have next week. You know who I have on next week?
You have none other than someone very famous.
I have Dino Klein. Dino Klein.
Dino Klein.
Yeah,
My goodness. Another bald brother.
that's right.
The Dino Klein Show. He's the Dino Show.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him on. We hit it off.
We're starting a show together next week.
I'm sorry?
We're starting a show together. It's called Dr. Smiley and Dino Show.
Nice.
Yeah, he's dynamic. He is a great example of someone that has caused himself to be an energy source and force that no one can even explain. They just call it the Dino Show.
Nice.
He's
That's
awesome.
good stuff. I'm going to have to check it out.
Well, you met him through the Baldathon, right?
I did. That's how we connected.
Yeah, but it's not that non-bald people can't connect, but damn, bald people connect well.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, hey, thanks again for your time. I will. I'll keep chatting with you, and we'll chat again another time. But have a great holiday season to everybody watching. To you, Dr. Kent, for your family and everybody. Enjoy that time, because, like you said, We get this life to live, and we got to make the most of it. Enjoy the holidays, making memories, smiles, laughter, and all the good stuff.
Amen.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next edition of Master Motivation Podcast. Hope everybody has a great holiday season, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.